Welcome back to BioRace. This is topic 2, organisation on the blood. So by the end of this video, you should be able to describe the different parts of the blood and be able to state their functions. You should also be able to describe the use of blood products and the risks associated with them. Shown here is the plasma, the red and white blood cells, and the platelets. We'll learn more about them in a moment. Right, so the blood plasma transports soluble digestion products like glucose from the small intestine to other organs, carbon dioxide, which is produced by aerobic respiration, is carried from the organs to the lungs to be exhaled or breathed out, and the waste product, which is known as urea, is carried from the liver to the kidneys, which is then excreted in the urine. Red blood cells. So red blood cells transport oxygen from the lungs to the body cells. They contain the oxygen-carrying molecule known as hemoglobin. And shown here is the equation that takes place within the lungs, which is hemoglobin, which combines with oxygen in the lungs to form oxyhemoglobin. And then when it's carried to the organs, oxyhemoglobin breaks apart and releases hemoglobin and oxygen. So shown here is a red blood cell. We're going to now talk about the adaptations that red blood cells have to allow them to carry this oxygen around the body. So first of all, they don't have a nucleus, and this means that they have more room to carry hemoglobin. In the center of the cells, there are dimples, and scientists refer to this shape as a bioconcave disc. This shape allows the red cells to have a greater surface area, therefore allowing oxygen to diffuse in and out at a more rapid rate. Right, so now we're going to talk about white blood cells. So shown here are some white blood cells. Now I must point out that white blood cells are not this colour, but they have dyed it this colour for better visibility. So white blood cells form part of the immune system, for example, by making antibodies within the body. Now, unlike red blood cells, white blood cells do contain a nucleus, and the nucleus contains DNA, which encodes the instructions that white blood cells require to do their job of protecting the body. Now we're going to move on to platelets. Now, platelets are very small fragments of cells, and they help the blood to clot when there is an injury. Now we're going to speak a bit about blood donations. So blood donations are used to replenish loss of blood from an injury. Some people may also be given platelets extracted from the blood to help in clotting. And lastly, proteins can be extracted from the blood to be used for antibodies. Now, I must mention that there are some complications to blood donations. So in a blood transfusion, we have to ensure that the donated blood matches the blood type of the patient. Otherwise, the patient's immune system will reject the blood and the patient could die. Lastly, lots of different diseases can be transmitted via the blood. I must point out that in the UK, the blood is screened, so the chance of having blood that is infected is extremely low. However, you must know that there are different diseases that can be transmitted via the blood for your exam. So you should now be able to explain the components of blood and explain blood transfusions and their risks. Thank you for watching. I hope to see you in the next video.